I'm going to bring up Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell. She is a compassionate doctor who genuinely cares about her patients. She trained at Johns Hopkins and has 30 years of learning in such clinical settings as emergency rooms, homeless shelters, jails, hospitals, and even celebrity living rooms. She's the co-creator and director of the McCandless Center for Women, and she provides consultant services for doctors at Harvard's Cambridge Hospital. So she actually consults doctors. She gave testimony in over 100 court cases. Let's give it up for Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell.
Hi, I have a lot of information I want to give you, and I am joining Jennifer because I'm also from Oregon, and we're going to talk to our senators. And my rally cry is stop the insanity. I'm a psychiatrist. I am someone who has the credentials to say who's insane and who's not. And I will tell you, it isn't the mothers coming and saying that their child has been damaged. I went to medical school at Johns Hopkins. And when I was in medical school, I graduated in '83. And I was told vaccines can cause encephalopathy, which is the medical term for brain damage. So I have known that my entire career. I also have taken a lot of multiple choice tests in order to become a doctor. So I know that when you see statements like all of children are safe or all children are not, you know that that is a lie because there is no absolutes. We are all individually distinct. The reason I became a medical doctor, I was a neuroscientist first. I'm also a geneticist. My father was a geneticist, mathematician, marine biologist, cardiovascular physiologist, and the head of the artificial heart program. I grew up with science. Also, my ancestors were the founders of this country, and I do not recognize this America. We live in a schizophrenic society with lots of cognitive dissonance. When you have doctors doing things and they are doing harm, they cannot face it. So I go to these medical meetings. I just got back from one. And many of these are medical meetings in which I'm getting continuing education. And there are doctors saying that vaccines are oftentimes the final straw that tips a kid over the edge. And yet they all say this real quietly. A woman who is a neonatal nurse, she said to me, and she's Jewish, her parents escaped the Holocaust. She said to me, I pray every day I go to work that I don't go to hell for what I do. But she has no choice because she has a family to support. I'm here not only for the mothers and the children, but for the doctors and the nurses who are being forced to do harm when we took a Hippocratic oath. We not only have information about what's going on, we have ways in which we can treat these children. About 20% of children who get diagnosed as autistic have reversible symptoms. But we need to admit that what they have is a neuroimmunological problem. And if we don't even look at the fact that the immune system is playing a role in what we're calling an epidemic of autism, then you just don't even go there. Now, one of the things that I did was back in 1987, I spent 6 months doing child psychiatry with Sir Michael Rutter. He was knighted for his work on autism. And the children that were referred there were referred because not every child who stops speaking, not every child who stops being socially interactive has autism. And yet, most of the diagnoses of autism today are being made by pediatricians who don't have my kind of training. It's only someone with my kind of training who really can say if a child is autistic or not. So I'm here to tell you that if your child is given a diagnosis of autism, It doesn't mean it's over. There are lots of children who can be helped. It's not only the toxins that are in our food. It's also the nutritional deficiencies in zinc, in vitamin D. And yet, doctors are not allowed to order tests for deficiencies. They're not allowed to order tests for toxicities. And most of them are not trained in recognizing nutritional deficiencies and toxicities. We're living in a country in which medical care is symptomatic. Oh, you have this symptom? Take this pill. You have this symptom? Take that pill. That's not why I went to medical school. I went to the medical school to find out what are the root causes of these conditions. And I'm seeing an increase in everything. Dementia, autoimmune conditions, chronic fatigue, all the way down the line, everybody is getting sicker. And there is no escaping this. Those people who are still in denial about what's going on, eventually some family member of theirs is going to get sick too. We actually have a model, a mouse model for autism that implicates the immune system. One of the things that was not known until the past 15 years or so is that there is an immune system that is innate to the brain. About 10% of our brain cells are actually immune cells, and they play a role in learning. So what happens is that while you're learning, certain synapses are reinforced and others are not. And there are these immune cells called microglia that are supposed to take away the synapses that are not reinforced. Well, those microglia are more active in boys than girls because they're more active under the influence of testosterone. Now, why is that? Well, while in utero, and during the first year of life, the boy's brain is being masculinized. That's why boys are different from little girls. It's because their brains have undergone a remodeling. Girls go through their first wave of exposure to hormones during pubescence. And then they also go through another huge exposure to hormones during pregnancy. These are times when the microglia that are in our brain are more easily activated. And they don't just stay in place when they're activated. They actually move around. So what we're seeing is these children who have places of disconnection in their brain. And it's being caused by an immune system that's out of control. And these children, the worlds that they're living in, we didn't used to be able to communicate with them. They weren't capable of communicating back. Now they can type onto iPads and they can type into their computers. And things that they're saying are not the things that autistic children, that's not our concept of autism. What these kids have instead is they can't integrate sensory information. And there was a panel that said that sensory processing disorder should be included in the DSM-5, which is the Bible for psychiatry, and it was not included. And it was decided that is the true diagnosis after the DSM-5 came out. Well, one thing that I did not know until fairly recently was that the former director of NIMH, Thomas Insel, when the DSM-5 came out in 2013, you know what he said? And NIMH is who funds all of the mental health studies in this country. He said the DSM-5 is not valid. And NIMH is not going to support research based on DSM-5 diagnoses, meaning that he recognized that really that our diagnostic schema was wrong. And so fortunately, there have been good doctors doing research, but it takes about 17 years for that research to go from the halls of science to clinical practice. We are not going to wait. Stop the insanity